Today, I'm here with Bernhard Hengl. How'd I do?
Perfect.
Bernhard, tell me, what's your story? What's your watery past? What brings you here to me today?
So let's start with the easy part. I'm not a swimmer.
What?
I'm a former water polo player, and that's mainly the biggest disadvantage that I have in being an open water swimmer. But I'm coming to that in a second. The big story for me is I stopped playing water polo after my ninth national title because I needed to balance family, job, and water polo. And come on, it was too much at that time. And even our third daughter was on the way, so it was a tough decision, but I needed to make a decision. But a couple of months later, the national coach asked me if I could make a quick comeback just for one tournament because he has a little bit of a problem and has not enough experienced player for the tournament in spring. Okay, let me go into the water if I'm going to have or still feel the fire. Went into the water, fire was immediately here. Unfortunately, I didn't make a comeback. I needed to go through chemotherapy and radiotherapy because I got diagnosed with cancer from one day to was really boom, chuck. You're not going to be an athlete. You're not going to be a cancer patient. That went for 8 months or 9 months. But during that time, I set myself a goal. I want to win my 10th water polo title. And that was what carried me through the therapy. Because I had my goal here, which was the 10th title. And I have never been focused on the illness, never. Because the illness was always, I called it an in-between challenge. And that's the part where the doctors need to do their magic. I'm going to focus on the other stuff, on my goal. And 18 months later, I was able to accomplish that goal and have won my 10th water polo title. The team has won the title. I was part of the team. And luckily, I was in the correct team, so making the story fulfilling or a whole one.
Tell me just a little bit about that. To have that forethought to like set the goal to like, did you have guidance to help to know to like set something bigger so that the illness didn't define you? No, just knew you needed to do it. Wow.
No, from the first day when I got diagnosed, I told my wife, hey, this is just an in-between challenge. That was the first thing. I have not accepted that this could maybe be the end. Naive as I was, this is not going to be the end. This is just a couple of months where I need to go through a kind of a special challenge.
Wow.
The idea for the bigger goal that could help me through therapy, I never had that during that time. I was just stubborn enough, having a really, really fucked up day, lying in bed, just seeing the sun a little bit coming through the curtain and said, hey, I'm going to win my 10th title. Told it everybody. And everybody was like, hey, come on, Bernhard, you cannot even walk 500 meters. What are you talking about? And everybody was like, come on, big guy, you're a cancer patient. Yeah, come on, do it. So nobody believed it. And I have the stubbornness and said, this is my goal. And I go for a goal. And then I really go for a goal. But after that, I really stopped playing water polo. I was not in the water for 8 years. So really, except washing or maybe one water polo tournament in a year, nothing else. Really nothing. Not even the idea that I could come back to playing water polo or become a swimmer. Never.
Wow.
I started running. I did freeletics. I did kind of a little bit of, now they would call it hybrid athlete. So a little bit of bodybuilding and running. Was not really fulfilling with 190, 100 kilos. You are not a really good cross-country runner because I was doing the marathons in the mountains, naive as I am. But that was not fulfilling. And then I had a quick discussion with my coach and said, hey, what do you think about swimming Lake Constance? And he said, cool idea. Would be a nice one. Not even talked again about that one, but it was stuck in my mind. And I was like, yeah, that's my strength. Focus on what you can and focus on what you're good in, and that's swimming. Maybe I really should focus on that one. And then just doing something because you think you should do it is not helpful because you need to have a bigger cause, a bigger goal behind it. And not even thinking about that, but I thought, hey, during my cancer therapy, I realized two things. The first thing was everybody knows somebody who has cancer or severe illness, but we don't talk about it. It's a taboo. And the second thing is, I realized that cancer patients who have a goal, who had a goal, have lived much longer.
Mm-hmm.
I've talked to so many people or cancer patients who got a death diagnosis. So you just have a couple of more months to live, who lived a couple of years later. Why? Because they had a goal which has nothing to do with the illness. I want to bring my daughter to the church when she has her wedding. I want to write that book or whatever else. And that was their goal, and that was driving them. And even the doctors couldn't understand them. But now, the more I work with it and the more I'm talking about it, the more I realize it's the goal, it's the why. You need to have your why, which you are going to or swimming to, which is driving you. And then bringing that together with Lake Constance, the idea was I would like to raise awareness for people living with an illness. And how can I do it? I'm not a good runner. Nobody's interested in the 155th finisher. So I thought Lake Constance, I was living there. I was raised close to the lake, and I said, let's do it. My coach was the athletic coach, and we needed a coach for endurance. I called my former coach who coached me for my comeback during water polo and said, hey, do you know somebody who could do that job? And said, I'm doing it. Damn. No, it's no way back. 2 coaches in, I'm in. Nobody else said it's possible.
Wow.
And for Lake Constance, what do you need? You need to have an 8-hour cold water certificate.
Yeah, give us a little background on Lake Constance for people who aren't familiar.
Naive as always. I was applying for Lake Constance and got the information you need to have a cold water certificate, which is 8 hours in the water, which is not warmer than 1.5 degrees than the actual temperature when you're going to make the swim.
Okay.
So when Lake Constance has 20 degrees and you made your swim in 22 degrees, it's not counting.
Got it.
So we had the idea we're going to use Lake Attersee, which is in front of my door, as the first lake. And then I had the idea, if I already have Lake Attersee and Lake Constance, maybe I could make it even a little bit bigger. I have only swam 2.5 kilometers in open water. This was the longest distance until then.
Okay.
Having the idea of bringing Lake Attersee, Lake Constance, and 5 other lakes together and making it the Alpine Seven. Just my longest distance was 2.5 kilometers. So I'm really naive or ambitious, whatever you want to call it, or stubborn.
Yeah. Tell us how long's Lake Constance?
65 kilometers, apologies.
65. Okay. So you got this goal for 65. You've done 2.5. Okay. That's good. That's good. I love it.
And Lake Attersee is 20 kilometers. And we even needed to swim a little bit back to have the 8 hours full. So that was the first challenge. And we then decided, okay, we're going to go for the whole one. The weekend before Lake Attersee, my wife told me, you need to swim in the Lake Attersee at least for 2 hours, that I know that I'm not going to be embarrassed when you're going to try it and you're going to climb out of the water after an hour. Okay, fair deal. So the really longest distance before I took on Lake Attersee was 6 kilometers for 2 hours, so just a week before.
Wow.
Then we had the first lake coming up, Lake Attersee, which was a disaster.
Tell us. We learn from. They're not disasters. We're learning opportunities, right?
For everybody who is an experienced open water swimmer, you will not put your hands on your face and say, how is it possible? We started really naive. We had just a little boat, which is okay. We had not really a clue what I'm gonna eat. We even made it in the water polo style, so the bottle, threw it in, threw it back. A little bit of power you need to throw it back, but yeah, you realize it later. I had, after 2 hours, I had massive elbow pains, really massive.
Oh.
And it was never the challenge that I'm not going to finish Lake Attersee, but I had in my brain, if this is going to happen in Lake Constance, no way that I'm going to finish it, no way. And an hour later, the shoulders came. So I was like, this is going to be an interesting one. Finish Lake Attersee was a lot of learnings. We even were not able to put on the watch correctly, so we have not... how you call it? It's not even ratified.
Ratified, official,
ratified,
yeah.
Because we had 2 watches, none of them worked. We have the logbook was kind of on paper where my buddy on the boat has written down he had food, and then he didn't went on. So not really professional, but we made it. That was the most important thing. Learning out of that was we needed to switch or work a little bit on the training that I'm going to survive Lake Constance. And before Lake Constance, I even had an interview. And in the interview, I was asked, how realistic is it that I'm going to finish the lake? And I said, it's to be honest, it's a 5% opportunity that I'm going to make it, because I'm not an open water swimmer. I have no experience swimming in the night, because naive as I have not trained it. I'm a water polo player, so I have not the right technique. We have no clue if I'm gonna hold the nutrition, if I'm gonna get problems. No clue about the temperature. So there is a lot of question marks. But this 5% are my 100%, because the only thing that we can control is my material, the mindset, and the nutrition which is given by my coaches. That's it. Nothing else. No clue about weather, about current. It's impossible. We started, went really well the first couple of kilometers, but after kilometer 8, I got a full panic attack.
Oh no.
Real total mental break-in. Really. Totally gone. And told that my coaches, and thanks God, one of the support members had the number of my sister, which they have exchanged just at the start. Texted her, hey, Bernhard is going to give up. And my wife and my sister have sent me a voice message. And the voice message was just a song which I have sang during my water polo time. And it's called I'm a Big, Big Girl. I have heard that song. The click was here, and I was sure I'm going to finish the last 57 kilometers. That's for sure. I'm not going to stop. Wow. It was really like this little thing which switched the click. Let's go. I'm going to finish that one. Why has it happened? Classic overthinking, classic panic, and I have never trained the night. It was the classic imposter one. Hey, I'm not good enough. How is the night going to do? In the aftermath, the night was the best thing ever. It was so meditative. It was so calm. It was, wow, really cool. Yeah, and then we had a couple of more challenges during the lake, but 26 hours later, we finished it. First Austrian ever crossing Lake Constance, and only 6 persons until then. Now Niall and Sarah just this week, also last week, have also crossed Lake Constance in a little bit quicker time, but
but nobody's measuring. You can't compare times, right? Because it's the weather's it's different every time. Tell us a little about your preparation. So you came from, you'd done this 8-hour, but you said your technique wasn't ideal. Like, how did you figure out your nutrition strategy? Give us a little insight there.
So the interesting thing is I never had a motivation problem, never.
Nice.
A couple of times I had a problem with guilt because I'm taking so much time for myself away from the family. It's selfish, to be honest. But I always had the big why in my head, and this is raising awareness for people living with an illness. And that was my big why I also didn't have a problem to stand up at 5 o'clock and being in a certain degree cold water at 6 o'clock in the morning. So the why was that big enough. And that's, in my opinion, the most important thing. Also, during the swim, the why brought me to the other side, not my muscles or my body or my training. It was just the why. And regarding preparation, we had 10 months. My coaches even told me, it's better to swim in 2026. And I said, no. I'm talking about 2025. So next year, not the year after. Okay. And I even told them, I don't have that much time. We can talk about an hour, maybe 1.5 per day. More is not possible. Family, full-time job. And I was like, damn, they're not going to say it's possible. And both said, hey, we're going to make it. And I was like, okay, we have found the perfect team. And what we then did at the beginning, it was around about 3 hours per week. So three time 1 hour in the water and 3 times in the gym, plus an hour on the ski ergometer. Not sure if you know the ski ergometer. It's kind of cross-country, the stationary cross-country.
Okay.
It's famous from CrossFit.
Okay.
From High Rocks at the moment. That was until January, February. And around that, we changed it to 4 times in the water, 2 times in the gym. And one water session was including a ski ergometer session directly after it.
Oh, nice. Yeah. Pile it on.
And the focus was mainly on interval and not swimming on long distance. So I think the longest distance I have swimming training was 7 kilometers, something like this. Not more.
Was it technique heavy? Were you focused on improving your technique? No.
We didn't have time for that one. That's a big challenge, because the idea was we need to work really on a thin line, because for a cancer patient, regeneration is not the best. Over 40, regeneration is not like a 25-year-old having a full-time job and a family. You cannot be on the foam roller the whole day. So we really needed to work on a thin line, and the focus was on building up the muscles and just, how was the coach saying, emptying the glycogen reserves. That was the
interesting.
But focus now will be technique for the next couple of weeks.
Yeah, well, it pays off. I tell my swimmers, it's like if you give it the attention it deserves, like 6 to 8 weeks of retraining the movement patterns, the payoff is like inefficiency and ease in the water. I don't know, it pays for itself. Because I think even if you only give it 4 weeks, but you're really intentional about that time, I think it's really helpful. But that sounds like you muscled through. You survived your 65 kilometers in Lake Constance. And tell me a little bit just about how you got the word out about your why, about how you spread word to, people.
So I also got asked what was the biggest. So I also finished Lake Wörthersee, which was the third one this year. And after that, I was asked what was the biggest challenge in retrospective. And I need to say the biggest challenge is to getting the attention for the cause. Because there is so many stuff going around on social media, so many good swimmers who got a portion of attention. And then this guy from Austria, who is not even fast, who's just stubborn, would like to also get a little bit of attention. It's difficult. It's really difficult. We also are looking for donations for each lake for NF Kinder. And we even made it possible to raise 15K till now. But to be honest, that can even be more. The goal is, or my goal is still 100K until or after the seventh lake, which is ambitious. But Lake Constance was ambitious too.
Yeah.
So let's see. No, that's the most difficult thing. I got some newspapers who supported me, but it's still difficult, and especially to keep it running. You always need to be behind. You always need to push, and in my opinion, you also need to be aware that you don't overdo it. Because having a cause is good, raising awareness is good, but if you just do that, you're also not going to be authentic. So it's a conundrum.
Yeah. Yes. So many things in life are conundrums.
Oh yeah.
So okay, so we're helping you get the word out right here, right now, which is great. Is there a charity that you have that you're raising money for, or?
Yeah, it's called NF Kinder, so NF Children, and NF stands for neurofibromatose. Why have I chosen them? First of all, I'm raising awareness for people living with an illness, and especially rare illness, and neurofibromatosis is a rare illness. And the good thing is I know the founder and I know where the money is going to. And that's one of the most important things for me. If I'm putting my name behind it, I want to know where it's going. And knowing Klaas, by the way, Klaas was the second supporter. And after or shortly before my mental breakdown, I asked the guys, hey, can please somebody jump on the stand-up paddle and be on my side? Because also the captain was always driving a little bit too much in front, putting up. So they were next to me. And Klaas was stand-up paddling 40 kilometers through Lake Constance without any preparation. That's dedication.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah, that's impressive. My goodness. That's a long paddle.
It is.
So tell me again, the other lake that you did this year, you said was?
The first one was Attersee, then it was Lake Constance, and the last one was Wörthersee. where I didn't know that before. I met a real legend. I'm not sure if you know him, Eric Demchuk. He swam 3,500 kilometers through the Volga, which is
Yeah.
wow.
Wow.
That's really wow, yeah.
Yeah, people that swim by themselves, that's another level to me.
That's totally
Yeah.
another.
I love my crew. I love having people there. I love being the
Me too.
swimmer, but yeah, I can't. The by yourself that's another level for sure. Amazing. Um, and what was that swim like?
So Lake Wörthersee was 70 kilometers, and
Wow.
after the 65 kilometers, everybody told me 70 kilometers is not that impressive and not that long. Come on.
What?
Yeah. And the big challenge was in the week before, I got, and hopefully gonna pronounce it correctly, diarrhea.
Oh, diarrhea. Yeah. So you're
I
yeah,
had
bowel
no power
indigestion.
in my body
Oh, yeah. Wow.
until Friday evening, and on Saturday was the swim.
Oh,
Normally, I would not have started, but having the cars and wanted to finish the lake, I said, okay, come on, let's go in as far as I can go. And during that swim, it was an official swim, so from open water Austria, and there are 3 aid stations. And the challenge is, if you have that kind of problems a couple of days before, you cannot eat everything. So I have
oh.
taken by the way, I forgot my bow. That was the first thing. So I needed to organize a bow. Got one from Eric, and the challenge was I had the 3 flakes with my food in there, my nutrition in there, and I have stuck them around the bow. Naive as I'm, that turned around and became an anchor. So I was pulling a resistance behind me, which was not good. And round about kilometer 7 or 8, I decided, okay, I need to finish everything, put it in that I can really have a nice swim. After that, it went better. We had a couple of waves before too. And so around about kilometer 8, I found my rhythm. Also being aware that at kilometer 10.5, the second aid station comes. So I get water and maybe a banana. Could
Okay.
not find the second one.
Oh no.
I knew there is another one around kilometer 14. So got really hungry, got really thirsty, couldn't find that one too.
Oh no.
But I was not the only one, to be honest. So I needed to finish just with the water of the lake until kilometer 17, 16 point something.
Oh my goodness.
But the good thing is I finished it, done. And the funny thing, I even won my age group, which I have not expected. Really.
Wow. Wow. Impressive.
Having not that much power in the body is sometimes good.
Well, I think it's an interesting thing to set out to see what's possible. Like you said, you were like, I'm not ideal, but I have this cause. I'm just going to see what happens. And I think when we allow ourselves that's when we learn what we're capable. We learn how resilient we really are as humans. So I think it's such an important thing to gift ourselves as well. I'll just see. I think that I can remember one of the first swims that I was at where I was like, I don't feel like my shoulders are sore. I had swam the day before. And the guy running the event was like, well, you just start, just start. And if you need to pick you up, we'll pick you up. Of course, you never needed to pick me up because you just have to start. It's the hardest part.
Yeah, that's a big point. And even if you're not too focused on time and you don't care, it's even easier for your mind. You just swim.
Yeah, I think I remember that in competitive swimming days and even like I played water polo a little bit too. It's like that sometimes when you're not don't have the expectations, that's when you can surprise yourself, right?
That's when you easier come into flow.
Exactly. Yes.
And flow is
Yeah,
what you need.
yeah, that's it. That's it. You're right. Amazing.
You played water polo too? I didn't know that.
Oh, just a little bit. In like 1999, 2000. I lived in Southern California for a little while, and some of the national team guys, I'm gonna just throw around with them, but it was a very brief period of my life. But it was great. I think that I like learning above water awareness. Like you said, there's benefits to as open water swimmer just to have that heads up ability to just know what's going on and be able to put your head back down, like go. So I think there's huge benefits. I think Amy, and there's another water polo player, marathon swimmer out there. It's a good crossover for sure.
It is.
Glad to have you on this side. So what's next? You have more swims coming up? You said there's 7, right?
Just today, I fixed the boat because Eric Demchuk is also going to support me with his boat on the next 3 lakes, which is going to be Lago Maggiore with 66 kilometers in June, Lake Lucerne with 39 kilometers in July, and Lake Garda with 59 in September.
Wow.
And next year, then the year after, in 27, we have only Lake Geneva and a surprise open.
Yeah, surprise, right. Wow. Well, that's quite, how'd you come up with these 7 lakes? Tell us.
The truth,
Yeah, of course. Always the truth.
I had the idea with Lake Constance and Attersee, and I then asked ChatGPT, can you give me 7 iconic lakes in the Dach region or in the Alpine region? And he came up with a couple of them. I brought them in Lake Wörthersee. First of all, it's an amazing lake. It's also in Austria, to be honest. And the other thing is also looking on costs, because that's a 250 euro starting fee. And having a boat, it's 2K. Only Lake Constance, for example, is around about 5K. So and Lake Geneva, I think it's 10K. So it's
a big investment.
You need to explain your kids why you're not going to have a holiday, because Daddy's going for a swim. Difficult discussion.
Right. Yeah. Oh, I hear you right there with you. Awesome. That's amazing. So you said you're going to buckle down, do some technique work. What other kind of, what else have you learned from, this new, taking on these, they're monstrous swims that you're talking about, but what are you learning that you're going to bring into your future swims?
The main learning, nutrition basics are enough, because I always thought I need to be kind of super special electrolytes, I don't know, caffeine, whatever you think. But my coach said, no, just carbs, water, syrup, salt, that's it. And fructose. And I was like, okay, worked perfect. No problems with my stomach, which is one of the most important things, to be honest. Mm-hmm. That's a learning. And the main learning, talking about basics, is focusing on the basics. Because if you have a poor technique, you need to be even more stubborn. And if you're lying like that in the water, like a water polo player, it's a little bit harder. When you're lying like this, it's even lying flat, it's even easier. So that's a focus area. Another focus area is also to get rid of a little bit of weight. Not because I want to have a 6-pack, but it's just you need a kind of an I call it bioprene. Don't know if you say that in English.
Bioprene, yeah. Bioprene,
exactly. But you don't need to have it too extensive.
Right.
And finding the right balance on that one is going to be a challenge together with the technique. And the other one is, which is popping up the last couple of weeks in my mind, is how much you can learn from swimming for leadership. It's huge. It's really huge. Because just as an example, if you can lead yourself, so self-leadership in water, good luck by swimming a couple of kilometers. Same here in leadership. If you don't have a why, it's doable for 10K, but above that, getting difficult. The same here in leadership. If you don't have a why, your team is not going to follow you. Talking about inner balance, if you're not balanced in yourself, balanced in your family life, then talking about guilt, that's a little bit difficult. The same here, if you're just trying on gear 5 or gear 6, burnout is coming quicker than you can think. So you also need to find the balance here. And the last one is the momentum, which means if you are starting the swim, it's not enough. You need to focus on each single, how you call it?
Stroke.
Stroke. Thanks, I was missing the word. You need to focus on each single stroke until you're on the other side. It's the same here. Just having an idea, shouting out a goal, it's not helpful. As a leader, you need to work on that daily, just until you have reached the goal. So you see, there are so many things in common, because in my business life, I'm currently working as a leadership coach, and seeing that things in common, it's so funny to see. It's like bulbs are popping up. Really fun.
I think I call it's like the life lessons from the water, and they apply in leadership. They apply in everything. And I think the water is a beautiful mirror To me, I'm like, more people to the water. Like, we need more people swimming and putting themselves in the vulnerable positions where you're allowed to learn, right? Because that's kind of the hard part. Just people are like, oh yeah, I swim, but it's, but they don't necessarily put themselves in their discomfort to learn, right?
And that's the most important thing. You need to go over the comfort zone into the discomfort if you want to learn something. It's the same. Telling everybody I'm going to swim 65 kilometers. At the moment I did it, no way that I was able to do it. But you need to have the belief that you can do something which is out of your comfort zone. Because if not, you would never step into the water.
Right. Yeah.
Comfort zone is fine to have, but I even like it more to be out of my comfort zone.
Yeah.
Same in
Yeah.
business.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Yeah, totally. As a entrepreneur, constantly trying to, almost too much. That's the balance part I'm still working on. But it's interesting how, yeah, I think it's like we were talking about the discomfort and making yourself uncomfortable and how important that is. But like, it's an interesting thing for people to get to a place where they feel confident enough to make themselves uncomfortable. And that's kind of like what I was going to ask you about, your kind of mental preparation. How do you kind of mentally prepare yourself for something this big? Talk to me about that.
I can tell you now that I did meditation, which I did, but I didn't do it every day. I could do it more. I did a couple of, what I really like to do is journaling, which is, in my opinion, one of the best tools that you can do for your self-awareness. But to be honest, mentally, the most important thing is find your why. Why you're going to do it. And I even ask myself the classic coming out of business, the 5 whys. Why are you doing it? Why? And because if you're not going to do it up front, the water will ask you, why are you going to do it? And if you don't have the answer, then you're going to struggle, or you'll be that good in that situation that you can answer the question, which normally is not the case. So in my opinion, the most important thing is clarify your why, be clear what it is, and then go. Because then you don't need to do meditation, breathing. It's good when you do it. You need the North Star. If the North Star is there, you have the direction, and everything else will fall in place. So find your why. It's the most important tip that I can give everybody, always in life.
Yeah, absolutely. I couldn't agree more. I'm trying to think, how do we, I catch myself wanting to, like, want to help everyone find their why, help everyone like come swim, help everyone challenge themselves. I know, right? You're shaking his head. Like, you can't do it.
To be honest, I was the same. I also wanted to help everybody, but the problem is you can only help the people who want to be helped.
Mm-hmm.
The other ones, they're even gonna kill your reputation because they say you're not good. Because they don't want it to be helped, or they cannot accept it. The people need to come to you to ask for why. It's difficult. It's really difficult, especially as an entrepreneur, because you won't go to the people and bring them to you. But it's the other way around. They need to come to you, because then they are really open, and then you can really, really make the wonder happen. Here, it's difficult because they are not, it's hard to say, not on the level that they can accept the help. They kind of accept it, or kind of think they can accept it, but they're not yet there. You need to have a kind of a level that you be open, as you mentioned, vulnerable, because getting help is also tough, because you need to accept that you need help. And that's not easy for everybody.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah, absolutely. Awesome. Anything else you want to share with us, Bernhard? How does your family feel about this?
When I told it to my wife at the beginning, she was like, okay. And I was like, what? Okay. That's all? She said, yeah, just go for it. I was like, go for it. No, she was one of the few people who believed in me. For the kids, it was at the beginning like, yeah, he's swimming. But when I did it, you could really see how much it also meant for them. And I'm sure how much it's going to mean for them in the future, because unconsciously, they definitely have taken something that you can set a big goal and that they can go for it. And don't even need to teach them or tell them that, because they have seen it, so walked away. And I think this is one of the most important things or most interesting things I'm looking up in the future, what they're going to take out of that crazy challenge of mine. If not, hey, fair point. But I'm really curious if this is going to have an impact on them. But you also need to be aware that doing what we do is also selfish. We need to be fully fair on them because it's taking a lot of time, a lot of money, a lot of time away from the family, a lot of input and investment from the family. So you also need to be grateful and thankful and all that kind of stuff, because not everybody is supporting you that would support you in kind of this challenge.
Yeah. Yeah. And then again, that's where the why comes in as well. Like when I can tell my kids, that why I'm, going to go do a swim. For a while, it was just like, it was a bit, well, it was even more selfish when my kids were smaller, I feel like, because I needed the time more because I was so like wrapped up in the momming. And now that they're older, it's almost more, I can feel that I'm missing out on their life if I'm not picking them up every day. So to take a week out to go to a swim it's a big deal, but they can, and they're sad like that I have to go, and I'll tell them, like I need to go see how far I can go or what, whatever it is. That's I always have a little why for the swim, and that's I'm like you said, I can't wait to see how that it's subconscious definitely at this point, but be interesting to see how if they embrace any of that subtle learnings.
But just when I'm thinking about it, it is selfish what we do in a kind of fun way. But on the other side, for me, I had not so much energy a couple of years ago, which I got just from the training, which is and the trained the whole time, just from training for a big goal. It's unbelievable. And on the other side, having that energy and bringing that back to the family is also a big advantage, because, like you say, for a lifeguard, first take a look on your life and then on the person you're going to save. Because if you're not gonna take a look on yourself, good luck for the other one. They're gonna drowning. So first, it sounds selfish, but first you need to take a look on yourself, because if you don't take care of yourself, you don't have energy for anything else. And
Absolutely.
you need to have energy to raise your kids, be a role model, and even have time for them. And you only have the focus time if you do your stuff, which is giving you the energy.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. No, you're making me think it too of just like this last year, I've been trying to be so much more intentional about the self-care and not just kind of consuming myself with work or consuming myself with being a mom or whatever. And the more I take care of myself, and boundary my time with work, the more present I can be for my family. And so then that's a huge, and that's come from my process of embracing like the kind of swimmer I want to be and that have presence in the water and all these things. So it all feeds off each other. It's kind of beautiful cycle. And then to model that for my kids too, for that I want them to have that presence in their life and each thing they do. It's like, that's all goodness.
Yeah, but the crazy stuff is we can be so good role models. They even need to make their own mistakes, and that's the.
Oh, I know. I have the hardest time with that one. It's just letting them make their mistake. But it's so true.
Everybody needs to make mistakes.
It's true. It's true.
And important.
Yeah, like you said, that first time you went out for that swim, it's like you have to go make your own mistakes or you won't learn.
Big learning. Damn. Oh, that was cool.
Yeah, thank you for spending your evening with us, Bernhard.
Yeah, many thanks for giving me the opportunity. Really appreciate it.